Hello and welcome to the April 15th edition of the Dragon's Lair. Coming live from the Warren County Career Center Television Studio, I'm Aiden Anthony, bringing you some of the best media brought to you by the Lair TV production team. Our first segment today is going to go ahead and take us to 60 seconds of good news with Nick Schaefer. So we're going to go see what a good minute of good news is going to look like. Let's take it to Nicholas Schaefer.
Hello, my name's Nick Schaefer. You guys already know me, but I was going to bring you some good news today, because we could all use some good news. Here's 60 seconds of it. Renewable energy in 2025 has produced 5,072 terawatts over coal's 4,896 worldwide. The EU is leading this expedition of green energy by having 71% of all produced energy being from low-carbon or zero-carbon sources. Now on to some older news. China's Great Green Wall project launched in 1978, which has seen 66 billion trees planted over China. Forest coverage in China has grown from 15 to 25% since the 70s. How do they do it? They do it by creating a straw checkered board using leftover rice straw to hold the sand in place to prevent the winds from blowing it into already green forests. They then plant trees into these squares and other greens with water and fertilizer to encourage growth within the squares and prevent harsh desert winds from killing the young plants from growing. Artemis 2 is a mission that recently happened dedicated to returning humans back to the moon and eventually to Mars. The crew consisting of 4 people, marking this the furthest humans have traveled from the Earth via a lunar flyby around the moon. Ian Newman made a segment just to tell you, and you'll see that in just a little bit. There's your news. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm hoping to bring you some more next week. Back to Aiden in the studio.
Wow, Nick, that segment was amazing. I'd love myself a good 60 seconds of good news. And touching based on that Artemis 2 segment at the end of that 60 seconds there, if you've been stepping outside recently and you looked up into the sky, you maybe saw the moon, and you're like, I wonder what the far side of that moon looks like. I wonder what the underside of that moon looks like. Well, the Artemis 2 mission just went ahead and explored the entire 360 degrees around that moon, and we're going to go ahead and see what Ian's perspective on Artemis 2's mission was. So let's take it to Ian Newman on Artemis 2.
I'm Ian Newman, and I'll be speaking about something much different today. There has been much discussion and speculation on the Artemis 2 mission and what it could mean for the future of mankind. Artemis 2 is NASA's first crewed mission in its Artemis program, which aims to return humans to the moon and eventually prepare for missions to Mars. The mission launched April 1st, and by the time this segment airs, they'll hopefully be back on Earth. The crew are Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, as well as Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen. The Artemis 2 will travel farther from Earth than any human mission since the Apollo program, and the first time humans go beyond low Earth orbits since 1972. It is a critical step before Artemis 3, which aims to land astronauts on the moon by testing technology needed for long-term lunar exploration and future Mars missions. In short, Artemis 2 is the dress rehearsal crewed mission. It proves humans can safely travel to the moon and back again before landing on it in the next mission. Back to the guys in the studio.
Wow, Ian Newman, that was just an incredible segment, and man, space is just so fascinating, and just to kind of see what NASA has been able to accomplish in this last mission is just absolutely incredible. What also is very incredible is some local stuff. You may be, looking outside, the weather's getting fabulous, we've seen with these past weather segments, and you may have found yourself down to Breeze Point Landing in downtown Warren. Absolutely gorgeous down there. Andrew Heffern, our production technician, is going to go ahead and show us Breeze Point Landing and just how incredible that park is. Let's take it to Andrew Heffern. Man, what a beautiful day it is out here at Breeze Point Landing in downtown Warren, actually at the heart of downtown Warren. My name is Aiden Anthony, and I'm bringing you some of the best sights in Warren County. And here, this is one of the best sights. Beautiful views, blue clear skies, an incredible bridge back in the background. One could say it's probably one of the best parks in Warren. Come check it out for yourself and see what makes Warren County a place to become and a place to call home. produced by Andrew Heffern. That was Breeze Point Landing with a special interview from myself. And I've been told that there's going to be some development down there with the Riverfront Development Project featuring a brand new boat launch. So that area should be bustling by the time that's wrapped up and built down there. Now for our special segment of the day, Live Talks in the Dragon's Lair with Erie News Now, Warren Bureau reporter Jackie Palmer. So welcome, Jackie.
Hi. Thank you so much.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us.
Of course, of course.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and kind of ask her some questions here just about her job in the field. So, Jackie, have you ever covered a story that has completely changed your perspective on an issue or community? And really, how did that experience kind of shape your way you report today?
Yeah, several years ago, I was working as a journalist and photographer in Salinas, California. Really, a lot of gang violence there, honestly. And the whole community had a bad reputation, and getting in there, getting to know the people, and getting to know the struggle, not justifying gang violence at all, but getting to know the struggle that they're having, that they were going through, really changed my perspective on what the people were going through at the time, and just the area in general.
See, that's, very, taking it outside of Warren, really to a whole different area. It's crazy how when you're completely outside of the state, how that can really influence kind of your future and where you end up. Awesome there. When you're telling a story, how do you decide what details to include and what details to leave out? Knowing these choices can shape how people would actually understand it and kind of perceive that.
Oh, definitely. Perceptive of any good journalist, you have to be neutral. Staying neutral. Don't want to ever have it one-sided over the other. But of course, time is always a limitation too. So oftentimes a lot of the stories that we do cover end up getting truncated in a lot of ways. So it's mainly, you have to find the 5 points, who, what, where, when, and why. And then of course, it's also crucial to find a character in every story, which helps drive the point.
Awesome. See that, we kind of see that in all pieces of kind of media there. There's always a kind of talking point there and kind of a centerpiece in there. So when you cover these stories, you're kind of seeing everything. What's been the most emotionally difficult story you've ever covered, and kind of how do you process those experiences?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the dark side of being a journalist, is there are unfortunate things you're going to be covering within the community, whether it be a loss of a child, loss of life in general, child, adult. It can be very emotionally hard. But again, being a journalist, you do have to step back and see how that story, how that whole situation affects the community, and report it from that side, just taking yourself out.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm assuming it's very emotionally taxing on you as well. And so kind of that, and kind of on top of that and kind of leading off with that, you are at the front of most of this. You're the first person sometimes to see these stories before they see it. So you've kind of experienced a lot of things. And so with those experiences, what would you give to the viewers watching at home? What's the best piece of advice that you could give them, whether they're going into a journalism field or just into daily life? Oh,
definitely. I mean, with journalism, find a good mentor, and get someone to emulate from. And never be afraid of asking the hard questions, the tough questions, because at the end of the day, you're not talking to administrative figures, political officials, and things like that. You're not there to be a friend. You are there to report facts. You are there to ask the tough questions that the constituents, that the community members need to know. So that is first and foremost. And of course, always check and double check your facts. Big part of it.
Yeah, back to that whole thing of not having enough time. We're actually going to go ahead and wrap it up right there. And that's going to go ahead and wrap up today's edition of the Dragon's Lair. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And thank you, Jackie, for tuning in with us today here in the Dragon's Lair. My name is Aiden Anthony. Nicholas Schaefer's behind the camera. That's Jackie Palmer from Erie News Now. Thank you so much for tuning in with us, and we hope you all have an incredible rest of your day.